Good afternoon, good evening, and good morning from Bali, Indonesia. I'm your host, Wade T. Lightheart from the Prosperity and Health Alliance, and I want to say hello to everybody from the other side of the world. I just want to first and foremost thank you for staying on the line. I know we had some technical difficulties this morning. Not really sure the origination of them, but we're here, and so thank you for your patience for staying on board while we got through those. So normally we'd have my video camera going. We're going to keep that down to the minimum. You might hear a little background noise because I'm sitting here in a beautiful, picturesque background. You might hear the birds chirping in the background here at the Hubud Operational Center. It's a co-working space where like-minded entrepreneurs like yourself who are traveling the world and kind of living the dream, as they say, work and collaborate. And there's a lot of these kind of centers working around the world. And that's what works really perfectly with your Enagic business. With Enagic, you have the opportunity to share our products, share our services, and share our message of healing health, prosperity, peace of mind to people all around the world. And of course, here in Asia, it's exploding at an extraordinary rate. And of course, I love to be in the center of the action. And so I'm here in Bali for the next few months. So you'll be getting these periodic updates. So thank you, everyone. Now, before we get started today, I want to talk about something. If you haven't looked at the Prosperity and Health Alliance videos or our YouTube channel, you can go there. It's right on the prosperityandhealthalliance.com page. There is a ton of resources, and inside that, you'll notice that we have videos literally on every single skill in the business that you need to develop. So whether your upline's great or whether your upline's okay, whether you're sponsored locally or whether you're sponsored internationally, it doesn't matter. You can access the training so that you can learn the skills. And I want to be clear about something here, and this is something that a lot of people just don't understand in this industry. There's only one person that is geared to make your business work, and that's you. It's not about the company. It's not about your upline. It's not about your downline. If you learn the skills out there, you can be successful, and that's the beauty of this. It's probably the highest return on investment you could probably get in the entire business world, and that's an amazing thing. And that's what's leveled the playing field, and that's what's allowed you as an independent distributor to take advantage of a global distribution base that has been built up over 4 decades that allows you to leverage those business models and to be successful in your business. So if we talk about, the skills, when we go over this over and over and over, and we issue those, the important in that first 24 emails that you get on each week, learning specific aspects of how to be successful in Enagic, what you're going to see here on the background is I'm going to talk today about the 5 things that kill your Enagic business. So I'm not doing this to be negative. What I'm doing here is, if you understand what the potential landmines are in your business, then you will understand what's going to allow you to be successful and what's going to kill your business. And I think a lot of people will get along in this industry, and they get to a certain point and they let these things kill their business. And so let's get into it. So Enagic, 5 things to kill your business. Number 1, the inability to invite. This here, just so you know, if you want to know the industry numbers over the last 30 years, there's lots of programs that have been dealt with there at the highest ends. And the results are 2% of the people are the people that drive the business. Those are the full-timers that really make things happen in your company, the high performers, the people that are going across the stage, making all the money. Then there's 18% of the people are people who kind of do okay. They make a few $100 a month. They like the product or they like the culture or that sort of stuff. And they're kind of the supporters in your group. Now, then there's 80% of people that don't go anywhere. And one of the biggest reasons why those people don't go anywhere is simply because they get stalled right here in this first thing. The inability to invite people to either view a presentation, to go to an event, or the ability to invite themselves or to meet with somebody over coffee or at a business demonstration, or just to start a relationship on a business level as opposed to a personal level. And a lot of people subconsciously sabotage themselves because they get in the way of, they can go make friends, they can go out to parties, they have no problem organizing that, but when as soon as you go to business, they have a subconscious bugaboo that kind of short circuits their brain, and they give up after a few weeks or a few tries, or they feel uncomfortable. Now, you have to recognize there's two levels to this. Number one, even if you're good at inviting, you cannot assume that your team is going to be good at inviting. So you need to spend time to help them learn how to invite properly. And if you go to our webinars, we have the scripts, the videos of how to invite properly, what to say it, how to set up a meeting, how to set up those type of things. So these type of things are very, very important for you to kind of get this, ability down, because if you don't get this down, then eventually you're going to run out of people and you're not going to go anywhere. And some people that's going to happen in a week, some people that's going to happen in a month, some people that's going to happen in a year. But eventually, if you don't know how to invite, you are going to run into this problem. So you need to develop this skill, and you need to teach this skill. Now, here's number two, and this is the inability to present. There's two things, and I saw this firsthand. I was particularly good at presentations because I had a background in presenting, and this was my professional career, and it was a natural evolution from my career as a bodybuilder. And so I was always presenting. I was presenting in high school. I was presenting in my athletic career, and I was presenting in my business career. So I was really good at presenting. And when I first started out, I did the presentations for everybody in my team. So people would come to my house twice a week, and then I would do follow-up presentations or meetings and all this sort of stuff. And I really, and I stuck with that consistently. And that's another factor, you need consistency. But, I just did presentations. Siha Top was another guy that learned that. When he started out, I started doing presentations to him until he knew everything that I was saying, and he just went out and did presentations. He's never stopped. But what happens is I noticed that there was a group within my organization that didn't develop the ability to present because they said, well, I can't present as good as Wade, or I can't present as good as Siha, or I can't present as good as Creel. And this hamstrings them. And the really important, and of course a lot of distributors develop a frustration towards their upline or to whoever's doing presentations or that sort of stuff. And the bottom line is, as soon as you get to the point where you feel kind of critical of the presenter, so in your mind, if you're watching a presentation and you don't like the presentation, or there's something that they don't say, or you don't feel it's right, that's the first signal. That's the little thing that goes off that says you're ready to start doing the presentation. And you should do the presentation. And this is what separates the people who make a little bit of money and the people who make a lot of money. And that is the ability to present the product and present the opportunity to as many people as possible. Because if you have that ability, you don't have to go to your upline, or you don't have to go to somebody else to rely on them to do a presentation. And by the way, a presentation could be as simple as inviting people to look at a video and watching that video with them. Bobby Gridelli built a multi-million-dollar enterprise by showing a DVD while he drove around and delivered water over and over and over again. So you might not be comfortable presenting, but you need to be able to present a video, or present a thing on a pad, on an iPad or something like that. So the second thing that you've got to be able to develop is the ability to present, and you've got to inspire your team to start presenting. One of the things that I did do is I started getting people to do little they would do the introduction at the event to get comfortable in front of people, and then I maybe have someone do the the first part, and then I'd have someone else do the the water demonstration. You start integrating the team inside your meetings, inside your presentations, just start so they get comfortable being in front of a group, and to the point where they get excited by it. And that's when your business is unstoppable. Now here's another one that blows people up, and that's the inability to close. Look, closing, and when I say closing, and Siha would like to say this is more like opening businesses. He likes to say we're opening businesses, but closing is the ability to elegantly ask for the sale, to anticipate that there is going to be an objection, and to be able to manage that objection in a way that makes the customer feel good about purchasing your product. And I'm going to refer to Jordan Belfort's straight line persuasion. He was known as the Wolf on the Wall Street. He made a recovery, a 12-step recovery guy, and transformed his life. And he teaches the skill set of selling, and it's probably the most detail-oriented system of how to close, how to sell in an efficient and an eloquent way. And one of the things that he talks about in there is the ability to close, the ability to anticipate there's going to be objections and to expect the objections. In fact, he has a process that you look forward to getting to the objection, and also understanding that the first objection is not the real objection. It's not the second objection. It might be the third or the fourth objection. And the data suggests that I think most sales happen after the fifth or sixth no. So as a salesperson, you have to be prepared for rejection, and it's not rejecting, it's an obstacle. In other words, they're giving you what is the obstacle that they have to overcome. So you have to look about it as collecting data. And through the sales process, you're collecting data so that you can find and isolate and alleviate whatever the objections to the sale is. Because we all know once you own a water machine, everybody should have one. We all know that. We all can understand why people don't buy these machines. You know, everybody that owns one has the same, we all have the same things. Like, I can't believe that people don't buy this, you know, and what you have to realize is it's your ability to handle those objections to get them to the point where you are. And unfortunately, there's a thing called familiarity bias. When you're familiar with the product, when you're familiar with the service, when you're familiar with the experience, you're going from a whole different space that other person doesn't see. That other person just sees it's a $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 cost. That's all they see. And generally, financial side is the biggest objection inside of this. So what I did when I wanted to improve my ability to close is I listened to the straight line persuasion every single day. The tonalities, the questions, the data gathering, I just went through it over and over and over and over again until I was great at it. And I'm not saying that you have to use that course, but you have to find a selling course. Go out, spend $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, whatever it is, learn a sales process and plug your Enagic business into it. Believe me, this will make you an extraordinary amount of money. And if you have the ability to close, you can literally write the amount of money that you want to make, because nothing is going to stop you. So if you're inviting, if you can invite, you can present, and you can close, you can literally make money at will. It's just about numbers. It's just going about approaching people and going out there. And that's what's really amazing about this business, is that you literally are not stopped by anybody, whether you have a downline or not. Let's say you had no downline. Let's say you have nobody in your organization and you know how to close. You can easily go out and make a six-figure income with this business, multiple six-figure income, just going out and closing people. That's it. So invite, present, close. The other thing is, when you have team members inside your group, you have to be able to teach them to understand that they need the skill to close. They can't always rely on you. As your organization gets big, it's very difficult. One of the reasons we created the Prosperity and Health Alliance is very difficult to get a hold of me now. You know, I have literally distributors all over the world. It wasn't like that. I started out me in a room. And now there's little demos going on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week in my organization all around the globe. And it's awesome. But on the downside is people don't have as much access to me. So I can't do the demonstration for them. I can't close for them in the way I could maybe early on. And so as a leader, I had to understand that we had to teach the ability to close to people. And I think you want to go outside of the industry and get the world-class sales system of how to sell. And so find the one that's right for you. I like Jordan Belfort's. There's other ones. Tim Sales has another great one. Oren Klaff has one, Grant Cardone. There's lots of different sales courses. Zig Ziglar. You can go get them online and learn that. And the key is repetition. The more that you study, the more that you practice, the more these things become auto magic, as I call it. Let's go to the fourth thing that blows people up, and that is the inability to duplicate. And, you know, I originally ran into that problem in the fact that, you know, I didn't know how to replicate myself. In other words, I can remember getting to a point where I was doing the demos every single week, Tuesdays and Thursdays, and a business training on Saturdays at my house. And, you know, I'd have 20 to 40 people crammed into my 2-bedroom condo in Vancouver. And, you know, it was awesome. It was fun. But what I realized is now that all these people had gotten way out of my count, way out of my organization. So I was closing all these people in my business for the leaders in my company, but I was doing them a disservice because they had to rely on me. And the only way I could get out of it was I had to move away. I actually moved out of my town because I loved helping people. I moved out of my town, and the people who were willing to step up and take over the demonstrations, take over running the events, and take over closing in their own organizations, they stepped up and they went on to the higher rankings. And the people who didn't, they kind of fizzled out. And I realized that I hadn't figured out how to duplicate myself, not just duplicating me as kind of like punch out ways, but punching out people. And when I mean punching out, it's like making a machine, is being able to manufacture Enagic distributors that could invite, that could present, and that could close, and that could do that in any city, at any time, at any place. Once I understood that, then I focused on the key people in my business, on how I could support them and grow their businesses. The other thing that I looked at is that's why we also created the Prosperity and Health Alliance. I realized I wanted to make sure that the skill set was, the essential components were available to everybody in my organization, and in fact, in everybody in Enagic. And our Prosperity and Health Alliance is open to everybody in Enagic. It's a service that we do to support everybody, and those first 12 weeks will teach you virtually everything that you need to know. That doesn't mean that you're going to be an expert at every one of those things, but you're going to have enough, and you're going to have the materials that you can grow your business and make a 6-figure income. If you want to make $1 million income, you're going to have to up your skills to $1 million level on all of those levels, but just about anybody can get to that 100,000, you know, the 6-figure a year zone, using this skill set inside of that. And of course, asking questions, which at the end we'll take questions from the call. So the ability to duplicate is to identify who's those 2%ers, who's those people who are hungry, who's those people that want to go to 4A as fast as possible, and 5A and 6A and 6A2, and being able to give them the tools, the time, the coaching, the ability, and to help them become the leader that they're capable of. That's a big factor. So now in my business, I spend most of my time focusing on this part of the business. In other words, the basics are pretty adept. How do I find and elevate those leaders so that we can keep replication and get those 6A22s and 2.3s and 2.4s and so on? Let's go to the last part. Thing that blows people up, and that is the inability to elevate. And there's 2 levels to this. So first off, when people get starting out, you've got to be able to assess where they're at, but you've also got to make them feel good about where they're at. So people come into this business with a variety of capacities, skill sets, backgrounds, etc. But, you know, Enagic, anybody can be successful in Enagic if they're willing to do the work, they're willing to develop skills. But when they start out, people aren't as skilled, or people aren't as confident, or people, even if they're the most skilled person, they're not going to be confident with the program, let's say. So as a leader, or as a distributor, or seeing yourself as a leader is how do you elevate that person and make them feel good about them? How do you make them feel good about our company? How do you make them feel good about the project? How do you make them feel good about their own vision for their own lives? And this is an important part. This is the elevation standpoint. When you announce somebody who is doing a demonstration, are you making them sound like the greatest person since sliced bread? Have you found out the components of that individual where you learn their skill set and you honor their skill set and you elevate and say, hey, you know what? You know, like Creel, for example, one of the things I noticed with Creel is exceptional organization ability. And I always would talk about that around people. And then, you know, years later, he came on and he helped organize the Prosperity and Health Alliance with his skill set, and we wouldn't have the Prosperity and Health Alliance with him. When I saw Siha, I saw the hardest working man in the industry, and from that, I was absolutely blown away by how much he worked. And I just tell people, hey, you know, this guy is working virtually harder than anybody I've seen in the business, and he's going to have the fastest growing organization. And guess what he did? When I first got started, people were elevating my, you know, status in my career, and that gave me confidence and shone light onto things and helped put me in a position that helped not only myself but also concordant teams that were at the events, you know, as a credibility expert. So looking at people, assessing people, helping elevate them, and that opens the door for them to also look at developing the skills that they want. And you want to be, you know, years ago, my sponsor told me, really simple. He says, you want to work as hard as you can to get to the front of the room and get on stage. And once you get on stage, you want to work as hard as you can to get to the back of the room so that everybody on your team is on stage. And that's really the process of elevation. First, you raise up your skill level, you elevate yourself, you get to that point, and then you shine that light on as many people as possible so that they can take on that role, and you move to the back of the room. And let me tell you, the first time that you go to the back of the room and you see that everybody in the room is in your organization, then you know you have a business. And I think that's what's really powerful, and that's the process of elevation. So we're going to leave this at one last thing, and then we're going to open up questions, and you can ask questions about this, or you can ask questions about anything else related to Enagic, and that is, which of these keys do you need to work on? Do you need to work on inviting? Do you need to work on presenting? Do you need to work on closing, on duplicating, or on elevating? What you want to do is you want to look at the area that you need the most work on, or the one that's holding you back, and say, you know what? That's the one I need. The one that you're complaining about the most, the one that you wish you had the most, when you say, hey, you know, I wish my upline did this, or wish I had that, or whatever, that's the place that you want to put the focus on, because what you're saying is I have a need. I need this XYZ, I need this skill, I need this result, I need to be ability, whatever it is on that list. And if you're expecting someone else to do that, then you're in trouble. If you expect yourself and say, okay, you know what? I need to get better at inviting. So why don't I go through the inviting stuff? Why don't I watch the Eric Worre stuff on inviting? Or you go, you know what? I need to present better. Who's the presenter that I like the most? Which presentation do I like? And I'm going to watch that presentation every single time, or I'm going to share that with my distributors every single time till I know that word for word inside out, that it's me. Or maybe you say, you know what? I've noticed I'm getting people to the close, but I'm not able to close, or I get really emotional on the, you know, I get really emotional on it, or upset, or feel weird when I ask for the sale. Guess what? You need to work on the closing skill. Or maybe you're out there, you're working, but you're not able to find leaders. Well, maybe you're not growing leaders, so you need to learn how to duplicate yourself, or you know, you feel that you're doing everything, you're not allowing other people to step up. And then finally, elevation. Are you able to inspire people to be a greater sense of themselves? And if you can, then I think you're in good shape. And if you can't, you can say, you know what, I need to learn some of these things. And I think one of the great people around that is guys like Brendan Burchard and Bob Proctor. So there's lots of tools and resources out there that will give you the skill set in any one of these areas. And recognize this. This is a profession. This is a business. This is an industry. And as a business and as an industry, you know, network marketing and multi-level marketing, social selling, whatever you want to, direct sales, whatever you want to call it, probably takes the least amount of skills to make a, you know, what I call a top 1 percentile of earnings. Really, it takes the least amount of skills. So the question is it worth learning these skills? Of course it is. Is it worth investing 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years to become world class? Yeah, it is. Because they're portable. Whether you stayed in the industry or not, you could still translate it into any single aspect of your life. And chances are, if you developed all those skills, you're going to realize that, you know what, there is no better industry than what I'm in. This is actually the best industry there can be. This industry has allowed me and my friends to travel the world. It's allowed us to live a lifestyle that's extraordinary. to live at the high end of life, to not worry about the things that a lot of families struggle with. That's finances, with health, all these things. And it can help you do the same thing. But I want you and encourage you to treat this as a business and to recognize that, hey, this is a career path. I'm going to need to learn these skills, and these skills are learnable, and to get to work and learn them and recognize we're all a work in process. It's action over perfection. And if you do all that, you could be successful too. And that's the big message today. This isn't a message about what can take you out. It's about a message about the things that take people out but aren't going to take you out. So don't let these little skill sets not go undeveloped in your life. Learn them, take them on, and we'll hear from you somewhere around the world. Maybe you'll come join me here in Bali. So with that, that's the end of this one. We're going to do some questions and answers. So if you have any questions, please pop them into the link. Kimmy, do you have any comments for our team in regards to this, or any questions that you want to add to our presentation today?
Nope, it was all really good and very valuable. I loved it. I think if I had to pick one that I would really focus in on, I've got the presentation down personally. I'm working on the close. Another person I like that's got really good stuff about closing is Ray Higdon. He's given me some great closing things to help get people, on board. But for me, it would be really working on the inviting. There's a great book, Eat That Frog, about, that's a really good book about stepping up and stop procrastinating, because without the invitation, none of those other things really even matter.
You're absolutely right. So if we have any questions for people, so just so people know, I'm fire off the questions as quickly as possible. Today is my birthday, and I am happy to be here doing this. But as soon as I'm off, I'm taking the day off, and I'm heading to.
Happy birthday, Wade!
Thank you very much. I'm gonna head to the Putri Bali Spa.
Ooh.
For a wonderful treatment all day long. So I want to thank everybody for that. You guys are all part of the equation that allows me to do that. And one of the reasons that I was doing this on my birthday is because I'm so grateful for each and every one of you on our team that are out there. You're out there hustling. You're out there working. You're out there, taking the no's, taking the lessons, taking the learning experiences. And you know what? That's a noble experience, and it's not always easy. And I appreciate the efforts, and that's why we created the Prosperity Health Alliance, and we're committed to helping you with that. So here we got a question from Robin. Best way to find quality people to build into leaders in this business? Sometimes feels like luck. Happy birthday, Bali Master. Yeah, okay, good question. I think there's a couple of, if I was to say, if there was the number one profile of people who are successful in this business, really comes down to a motivation. And what's interesting about that, I think, is if I was to look at, and this is relative to my own case, and it's relative to most of my top distributors in my organization, is people who were used to making a high income, maybe six figures. In other words, they had as T. Harv Eker would say in The Millionaire Mind, they had a high thermostat already. They expected to have a high quality of life. They expected to be a six-figure plus earner. They wanted those things. They were used to those things and those types of skill set. Those people, something happened in their life. It was a wipeout in their business. It might have been a divorce. It might have been some kind of life crisis, health issue, something. And all of a sudden they weren't making the same kind of money, and they needed to find a way. I find those people tend to be the most successful people in this industry. They're motivated. In other words, they've had success in some other area. Now, for myself, I had never been in this type of industry before, so I didn't know how to be successful in it. However, I had success in other areas in athletics, and I had a business that was successful. I took a downturn. I got into this. It came back. Interesting, and some of the skills that I learned in this business translated back into my old business, and I was able to build that up even better. So that would be the first thing, I think, is to go and ask the people who you think might not be interested. I think one of the tendencies is people, they sponsor down instead of sponsor up. In other words, they don't treat their business as imagine you're putting together a sports team, like a hockey team or a football team or whatever your favorite sport is. For me, it's hockey, so let's use that. If I'm going to build a hockey team, I know that I need good centers, I need good left wingers, I need good defense, and I need a good goalie. And I got to go out and find people for those positions to make a winning team. I'm not just going to take every Tom, Dick, and Harry to play for the team. That's the difference between a professional team and a pickup team. So I think when you're languaging the opportunity, you have to language the business opportunity in a way that attracts those type of people. You've got to be able to identify the pain points of their career. Maybe they're a career salesman who's, had a downturn in their industry, or something went happen with their company or something. They've got sales ability. Maybe they were a white collar worker who is in management who has amazing development skills. You've got to be able to hit those pain points and show them that this is an opportunity for them to really leverage the skill set that they have to do that. And then the other thing is I think you've got to find the qualities inside of people and learn how to elevate those. And I think maybe one of my gifts in the industry was to able to see people, because keep in mind I was a coach prior to all of this. I personal train people, coach people for 10 years. And one of the things about coaching is I always would see the best in people, and I always see the skill set in people. So see the greatness inside of people, give them the opportunity to grow into their greatness, but don't get too invested if they don't. It's really hard to try and drag people to the top. It's really easy to keep elevating them to the top. So that's what it is. So going back to circle the wagons, best way to find quality people is how you language your business, and you need to make it attractive to those type of people. If you're telling people, hey, you can make $500 a month or $1,000 a month, probably not going to get those high income earners. If you're showing people, hey, you know what? We've got we're working with a group of socially conscious entrepreneurs who are part of an environmentally sound project with a Japanese water company. And we're looking for, superstar professionals that want to make a six-figure income plus in the next 12 to 24 months. Do you know anybody who fits that criteria? You get to work your own hours, you get your own business, you get the partnership of $1 billion brand. It's an environmentally sound product, and it's an amazing group of socially conscious people. It's a different way of languaging the business. So you need to get excited about the vision of what you're doing to attract those type of people.
One thing that's really good what you just said too, so I'm glad we're recording all of this. But I think too, like Eric Worre and all the top professionals, they always say, because people don't like to feel like you're saying it's not for them, but to say to them, I know this is probably not for you, because right away they go, in their head they're going, well, what do you mean it's not for me? Hold on, this may be for me. So people don't like that rejection or being crossed off of a list or not being considered for something. That's kind of like this natural thing people have to say that makes them kind of take another look at it and pay a little bit more close attention. Would you agree?
Yeah, it's funny. I'm glad you brought that up, because it's something that I unconsciously do. Mm-hmm. And one of the reasons why I do that is because, frankly, I'm at a stage in my business where I just don't want to waste my time trying to drag somebody along. It's kind of like, I don't know if this is for you.
Right. Yeah.
Because I really don't. And I think that's another aspect, is you need to be emotionally unattached to that person, and look at the point is you're interviewing people to see if they fit their business, as opposed to trying to get people in. It's a very different posture, and allow people to interview for the position, as opposed to you're trying to convince them of why they should do this. Yeah. So people love to qualify for things. Mm-hmm. So if you look at even at you go to your bank card, when you spend something at the store, what's it say? It says you've been approved. Mm-hmm. Same thing when you buy a car, they go, let me go check with the manager, see if you've been approved. Mm-hmm. Same thing if you go to a furniture store. The languaging is you're qualified to make this luxurious purchase.
Yeah, and
right?
yeah, and it's another thing that you said that's really good too is that like when as you're doing that little spiel that you just said that I thought was absolutely great, and I'm going to go back and listen to the replay and copy that down and kind of get it in my. I don't want to like memorize a script because obviously that's not good, but just get the bullet points of what you just said about the socially conscious entrepreneurs with the water company, blah 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 blah. But you could, one of the things I've heard that I really liked was people don't like to be crossed off of a list either. They feel like they've been left out. So to say, hey, look, this, I know this may not be for you. I've got you on the list. If it's not anything interest for you, no problem. I'll cross you off the list and I won't bother you again about it. People don't like that. They want to go, wait. I don't want to be crossed off the list yet.
Yeah, exactly. You're 100%. So someone's like, okay, so someone's like, I guess Robin's back here saying, okay, but how are we finding these people? It's kind of like there's a lot of different ways you can hire, but you need to get yourself out there into the fields. Whether you can't sit in your house and, meditate your way to millions. Okay, and there's a mystic kind of component out there that I think a lot of people have bought into, and that's kind of the damaging ideas of The Secret and saying, I'm just going to sit here and I'm going to manifest whatever's happening. Well, that's an illusion. Mm-hmm. And the reality is you've got to go out there and get it. It's 7 billion plus people on the planet. You've got to be going out there, and there's a concept that I learned from Tony Robbins years ago. And how do you solve a problem? And you can apply this to any field, but in this case, you're saying, okay, I need to find, 10 superstars. If you can get 2 superstars in this business, you're set. Let's say you want to go have 10. Mm-hmm. So what you do is you get a sheet out and you go, okay, what resources do I have? Who do I know? Who do I know that knows salespeople? Who do I know that knows business professionals? Who do I know that is looking for stuff? And everywhere you go, you've got to send that message. Hey, I'm looking for some, I'm working with this project, this environmentally friendly water technology from Jan. I'm working with a group of socially conscious entrepreneurs. We're teaching people how to make a 6-figure plus income, work for themselves, travel the world, have a lot of fun. Who do you know that would fit that protocol? Who do you know that has sales skills? Who do you know that has organizational abilities? Who do you know that's looking to make a career change? Who do you know? And if you keep asking those questions with everybody that you know and say, hey, Bob, Mary, Sue, who do you know? Who do you know? And keep asking the question, you'll be surprised at how many people will want to help you. And most times, the people that will grow your business are not the people that you are in your immediate frame of reference and the people that you know.
That's why you can't. That's why you can't ixnay people off the list. Like, I think we get in our own way a lot of times, because when you sit down and you say, okay, I'm going to write out as many people that I think is interested in this business. Well, that's the wrong approach. The thing is, I'm going to write down every single person that I know and just contact them, because you're setting limited beliefs that aren't other people's limited beliefs. They're yours. I have joined every networking group that I go to every networking group. I attended a festival this weekend that had 6,000 people walking through. My first thought was, I don't really want to go and do it. It's 9 to 5. I'm like, yeah. I did it. I got about 400 leads. And all I did was the pH strips. I didn't do anything else. I had nothing that said Kangen water there, because I don't want people going and looking up something. I want them to come to me. And so I set up my little booth and set up my stuff, and I was packed. All I did was a water demo. All my thing says was, if you love antioxidants, you'll love our water. And so my whole thing was about drinking water, and I had cups and I had my water up there, and I just handed it out to people, and people were like, well, what is this? I'm like, it's my demonstration. You want to see which water you should be drinking and which water you shouldn't be drinking? They're like, yeah. So, that was it. And then I had a $25 gift card giveaway that people put their names in. And I pre-qualified some of those people before I let them enter to win. I just didn't let anybody fill out that paper. But it's like what you're saying, Wade. just getting out there. Another example, I went to a BNI networking group that led me to another person outside of the group. I went to meet with them today to learn more about what their business is, learn more about what I do. I got 7 people in the office said that they wanted to see a water demonstration and get on a water trial. So I scheduled an appointment for 7 people to sit for a one-on-one demonstration. So you're right. You got to get out in front of people. The more people that you meet, I talk to everybody about the water. Everybody. I mean, I've even started conversations just seeing people drink bottled water. And I say, ooh, you know why you shouldn't be drinking water? Bottled water? No, why? I got some information for you you'd love. And I just kind of strike up a conversation and it just goes from there.
Yeah, exactly it. So I think what happens is you got to get, really wrap your head around and commit to the business and commit to not being attached to who shows up. You get on the vision, you get on the quest.
Yes.
You're going, here's what I'm looking for. Who do you know? How do I get there? Are these people qualified? Are the things? And, I've watched you really kind of embrace that over the last while, Kim. So you're a great example and great testimonial to show of how you can do that. Okay, so here's a question. What's the best way to go at using a second unit to put into prospects' home for trials? This is where I'm at and would love to hear what technique works, how to go at it. The persons that have had the most success with that is, I think, in certainly my organization is Creel. And, I would defer to Creel because, I've done it. And I don't do it anymore about leaving machines in people's businesses. So the best way to go about it, Mary-Ev, that was who put the question is basically you create a system that works for you. And what that means is you want to set the terms of how to qualify that person. So are they serious about doing the business? Are they serious about, trying the water? Like, do you want to sell machines or do you want to sell the business? That's number one. You have to determine which one it is. And number 2, it comes down to what is the term that you're comfortable leaving a machine at somebody's house. And number 3 is what is the cost, if any, that you are going to limit that to. So are you going to say, okay, they got to pay me $100 to lend you this machine, or $50? They got to have a deposit on it. Are you going to do it for free? And what's the time frame? So, 2 weeks is generally enough to get on the project. So, and you've got to be clear about the terms going in. The other thing is are you dropping machines off for people who just want to buy a machine, or are you dropping machines off for people who want to build a business? It's very different. So there is no best way. There's the best way for you. And once you set those terms, who do I'm going after? What is my desired outcome? And what is my overall expenses of going into this project? Once you have that, then it becomes very clear. You set your patterns, you set your determinations, and you go forward. And Creel Creel has, I think, about a 60% closing rate on dropping machines off at people's places. So I'd reach out to Creel, since he's in your local environment, Mary-Ev, and just have a 10-minute, 15-minute conversation of his process and what he's learned, because I know he's changed it over time. Okay, so yes, Robin, keep throwing out a well net. But your brilliant wording, really, it's. Thanks, Robin. It's not about so much the brilliant wording; it's the energy behind the words that makes a difference. Get excited about your business, get a vision about your business, and share that, and I think you'll be okay. So I think that wraps up the questions. So
and posture.
Yeah,
I think posture is really important too. The confidence that you get when you get out in front of people. I know the first, dozens of times, the first times I got out and did stuff, I was a nervous wreck, and I'm a talker, and I was nervous, and I wasn't sure if I was saying the right things or doing the right things. But you know what? Each and every time I opened my mouth, and each and every time I showed up someplace for a water delivery or a trial or whatever it was that I was doing, I got better and better at what I was doing because I constantly put my best foot forward. And when I did that and I got out there and just did it, then I saw where I was weak, and then I saw where I was stronger, and I saw where I needed improvement. And I just continually get better at doing it. So I think the best thing to do is just get out and do it. Go eat that frog and go.
Yeah, to close off, I'm gonna add to that. Every single person when they starts out is nervous and doesn't have that confidence and has to overcome some challenges and feel that. So for the new people and people starting out, I'm going to qualify as number one. Number one, get a clear vision of what it is that you want and determine that you're going to get that no matter what. Number two, recognize that the nerves that you feel or the uncomfortability is not necessarily nerves. It's a heightened state of energy that maybe you haven't accessed in a long time, and your body doesn't know what to do with that at first. So it feels like nervous, or it feels like this energy. You have this like, and people call it nerves, but it's really just a heightened sense of energy. You're tapping into your super self. And to know that, and you'll learn to harness it. It's like getting on a really fast motorbike the first time. You don't go full tilt the first time. You get used to handling the machine, and then you start, going with it. Number three is you want to be able to share that vision with as many people as possible and recognize that, you're going places. You're going to be a leader. You're going to be the driver. You're going to be the inspiration, and you're going to pull people into that vision and help them find their own vision within it. So I think if you look at the business from a bigger scale, I think a lot of times that people just don't think big enough. People don't trust themselves enough. And the best way, and you touched on this, the best way to see your vision is you need to affirm it on a daily basis. And the more people you talk to, the more people you present to, the more that you affirm that vision. Mm-hmm. And you start to build up your own believability from it. And that's the power of affirmations, and that's the power of sending your message and getting clear about your message and honing that and refining it and getting better. Like, your presentation will get better. One of my business partners, he says, today's the worst things are going to be. We practice this, it's going to be better tomorrow. So I think that's an important thing to embrace. It's always practice. There's always a new day. There's always a new person to meet. There's always a new person to connect to, and there's someone else out there that you can help. So with that, I want to thank everybody for joining us today, the Prosperity and Health Alliance, and just want to send out my love and my gratitude and recognize that you guys are making a difference in your world and in the worlds of other people. And there are millions of people out there looking for this project or looking for something to change their lives, and we have an awesome vehicle to do so. So thank you so much for spreading the message. Keep that message of compassion going. Be compassionate to yourself as well. Treat yourself good. Drink your water. Have a lot of fun, and we'll see you next week on the Prosperity and Health Alliance.